Greetings to you listening to me. There is this thing that Ghanaians keep talking about. I'm referring to the xenophobia in South Africa. We all don't appreciate it. Nobody likes xenophobia. We have all condemned it to the highest level. But there is one thing that people are not checking. If you do a proper scrutiny, you realize that Ghana is missing something. But before that, let me point to this. Many Ghanaians are calling for retaliation. That we should retaliate. We should end South African businesses. We should sack South Africans. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea at all. While I may not condone that, I may not support that idea, I think sacking all South Africans or collapsing or closing South African businesses in Ghana might not augur well for the economy now. If you look at our telecommunication network, spectrum, is about MTN being the largest telecom in Ghana. The shopping malls, the largest shopping malls, they own them in Ghana. And other businesses, look at Ashanti Gold, Anglo Gold. The list goes on and on and on and on. But the point is, ending these businesses, closing these businesses, retaliation might not be the case now. It might not be the case now. Like I said, I may not condone it, but I'm not in support of that idea. There is something that you and I have to check. That is what I want to point to. It's about the mission of Ghana missions abroad. The main mission of Ghana embassies abroad. Since time immemorial, we have been told that the main mission of Ghana embassies, just like any other African embassy abroad, is to execute the country's foreign policy by protecting national interest. In quote, national interest, promoting economic trade and investment. Promoting economic trade and investment. Facilitating bilateral cooperation and providing consular and welfare services to the Ghanaian diaspora. I take the last part again, and providing consular and welfare services to the Ghanaian diaspora. My dear sister or my dear brother listening to me, ask yourself, ask your brothers in diaspora, ask a brother in Germany or Europe, Australia, Canada, America, New Zealand, China, Dubai. Ask them, how does the Ghana embassy there come to their welfare? When it comes to welfare matters, how does the Ghanaian mission abroad come in? What can they say that this and that makes them feel that they have a mission somewhere? They have a Ghanaian embassy somewhere that comes to their aid or services all the time. Because the point or the fact is the Ghanaian mission abroad, the so-called embassies, do not even know the total number of Ghanaians living in a specific country. Let's say if you take Ghana embassy in USA, New York, trust me, they don't know the number of Ghanaians, documented or undocumented Ghanaians living in America. They don't have the data. They don't have the data. If you go to Germany or Europe, I'm using Germany as an example because that is the largest economy in Europe, Central Europe. The Ghana mission, the Ghana embassy in Germany does not know the total number of Ghanaians, documented or undocumented Ghanaians living in Germany. This is what we need to address. You see, during the xenophobia attack, Ghana government did something that is well appreciated by many people. We are in support of that. We lauded the government for that. The Nigerian government did similar. But you know what? The Nigerian government came out with 3 different figures, just to prove that they know the total number of Nigerians living in South Africa, which should tell you that there is a problem somewhere. If you come out with 3 different estimates or approximation, then there is a problem. While I believe that the embassies might not know the exact number, there should be an approximation that we know that we have 10,000 Nigerians living in South Africa. The Ghana government should know that we have 15,000 or 9,000 Ghanaians living in South Africa. This is important to a point that in case of any emergency, this is what the government will rely on to repatriate or to get some people evacuated. I mean, the evacuees should be people that we know. The people that we want to bring home should be on our desk. I mean, their name, their addresses, if possible, their addresses should be in our system. In this era, if any embassy abroad cannot give an exact or an approximated figure of the number of their nationals living in that country, being it Canada, US, Germany, UK, Russia, Ukraine, I mean, then how do you say you are at the welfare services of the person? It's not true, my brother. The embassy is there for economic trade and investment. I mean, this just to promote economic trade and investment and to facilitate bilateral cooperation. They don't care about the people living in the country. And these consuls, the people at the embassies, don't even respect the nationals when you go there for passport services or whatever. The way they talk to you, the flashy life, the exuberance, the life these people live elsewhere, you make it. It's like Ghana has no problem anymore. It's like Nigeria and other people are okay. If you look at the flashy life, the way they talk, they are not at your service. They are there for money. Check the cost of passport for Nigerians living in Germany or Russia or elsewhere. Check the cost of passport. To get a passport as a West African, to get a passport as someone from Togo or Kenya abroad is expensive. Check. And the people in there, many of them don't show good attitude. These are the things that we need to talk about. Ghana embassy, Ghana government should tell us that the government is enrolling a program to get documented and undocumented Ghanaians everywhere in a system, in something that we can point to in the future in case there's any disaster or xenophobia. Look at what happened in Cambodia. The Cambodia country issued a statement that they don't want some nationals. They were categorical. They don't want some nationals in their country. Would Ghana say that when Cambodia had a war, we had to send troops to help them fight or to end the war? They don't care. Look at how immigration issues became so tougher in UK. Look at Germany, how things have turned around when it comes to immigration. Nobody cares about anybody anymore. So we have to know our own. We simply have to know our own. The Nigerian government, the Ghana government, I'm concerned about countries in West Africa because I'm from West Africa. These nations should have a data, a system that they can point to, that we know that if we go to US, every state, state by state, we know that we have an approximated figure of Ghanaians living in there. There should be a system to register a Ghanaian for the nation to know that they have this number of nationals living in this country. If we don't do that, we shouldn't trust that xenophobia will end or Ghanaians wouldn't travel to South Africa anymore. We shouldn't trust that Cambodia will not issue a statement targeting specific nationals anymore. Look at immigration issues in America now. The Trump era is just digging people out and taking people home. Look at Germany. They have enrolled a series of, a whole reform when it comes to immigration. UK did it last year and they're on it. And many countries will follow suit. What is our plan? What is the foreign missions abroad doing? Our missions abroad, what are they doing? It shouldn't be about trade and investment alone. It shouldn't be about facilitating bilateral cooperations alone. And like I mentioned, if the focus is really on welfare services to Ghanaian diaspora, then every single mission in Norway, in Denmark, Finland, wherever we have a mission, should have a system, a data of Ghanaians living in that country. It's quite unfortunate, but it happened. If you've gotten to a point where black men are sucking their own from their country, then it's also a reminder, it's a wake-up call to government, especially those in sub-Saharan Africa, to develop their own, to build their countries, to put up factories, industries, hospitals, schools, what have you, for people to stay and work and study and have good health. Before the Berlin Conference, there were no borders. That is what we have read and been told. Before the Berlin Conference that brought about the borders and divisions, there were no borders. So tell me, would people down there say they would have sacked people who had come in there as blacks or what? I don't know. I'm not getting the picture. If there were no borders, if there were no territories, just as we had before the whites came, before the Berlin Conference, the famous Berlin Conference, and would these people down there, where we call Southern Africa, say they would have sacked people that came there as blacks or what? Because that time we wouldn't have had West Africa or East Africa or whatever. The person would have come there as a black native or a black person looking for a job or a place to stay or whatever. And migration is never a crime. Migration has never been a crime, and it's never been a crime. It's about the intent of the immigrant that matters. I repeat, it's always about the intent of the immigrant that matters. Migration itself has never been a problem. It's not a crime. So if someone comes to your country and it's not an armed robber, it's not a pedophile, it's not a rapist, it's not interfering in your politics as to who should lead your country, then why should you be concerned about the person's business, the person's growth? Why should you think that the person shouldn't have 2 stores? The person shouldn't become a millionaire because your people don't have it. So why should a Nigerian become a millionaire in South Africa? You don't understand why a Ghanaian, a Togolese, a Congolese, a Cameroonian becoming a millionaire in South Africa is a nightmare to people in South Africa. But they believe they can have a whole Anglo gold gold mining point in Ghana. They believe they can have their shops spread across Ghana, in Nigeria, in Gambia, and elsewhere. Name it. Let me hear your comment. Say something about what I just mentioned or what I just said. What is your thought? Leave your thought or comment in the comment section, and let's get this conversation going. Greetings to you, my brothers and sisters from Nigeria. I appreciate you so much. Don't be concerned or don't worry so much. I love my homeland country, Ghana. Don't cry anymore. There will be a solution. There will be a way out. There will be good governance one day in Nigeria, in Benin, in Togo, in Gambia. I look into the future and I know one day we'll be better off than these people. We'll have good hospitals on road, just like these people. We'll have good jobs to limit migration. Our youth wouldn't be bothered to travel abroad just to search for warehouse jobs, restaurant jobs, menial jobs. I look into the future and I believe that one day Africa will be the breadwinner for all the continent. I look into the future and I know that we will tap into the potential we have. We have a lot of youth that can work as a continent. And I know one day, just one day, very soon, in less than 4 decades, I see countries in sub-Saharan Africa, countries within the sub-Saharan belt, putting up massive industrial projects, a whole revolution that will allow people to get jobs to do, so that our brothers will not be on the sea, traveling to Libya, or from Libya to Europe, or from Tunisia or Morocco to Europe just to search for a job. I see one day that just as it happened in the days of Mansa Musa, people elsewhere will walk to Africa again to ask for bread, to ask for raw materials that we will decide the price. I look into the future and I know one day world market price will not be determined in America or Europe. It will be determined in Nigeria, in Togo, in Benin, in Cameroon, in Congo, in Ghana. In Ghana, I believe that we can do this. Let's pull together a consortium. Let's get data of our people living abroad. Let our missions be up to task. I love you, and let me see your comment or thought in the comment section. Goodbye.